Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing an updated full coverage flawless foundation routine using all drugstore makeup products. It has been quite some time since my last foundation routine video and it's already May, which is crazy, but we are slowly but surely approaching summer. So I wanted to show you guys some of my go-to drugstore makeup products in action and show you how I achieve a smooth, flawless looking face that's going to look great in pictures and that's going to last all day. So yeah, that's pretty much it. This is going to be pretty straightforward. Lots of favorites in here. I believe everything that I'm talking about also is like $10 and under, I think. That was not on purpose actually, but now that I look at my table, we got a lot of great products and they're all very affordable. So hopefully this video is helpful and you guys enjoy it. Definitely grab a snack and make sure you subscribe to my channel for 3 new videos every single week. I hope you guys are also staying safe and doing well, sending you guys lots of love, and let's just get into this flawless foundation routine. Okay, first things first, of course, before starting with your makeup, you wanna make sure that you have done your skincare, you cleansed, you did your vitamin C serum, your moisturizer, and most importantly, your SPF. This is my favorite SPF, and I have already let my skincare sit into my skin for probably about maybe like 30 minutes or so, because it took me 30 minutes. Yeah, I know, ridiculous, to do this eye makeup and my brows, but this is my favorite sunscreen. I've been raving about it, but I truly love it. You should really be wearing sunscreen every single day, winter, fall, even if you're not going outside. It's just super important, and this one's great. I think this is the most expensive product in today's video. I think this is $15, but you can get it on Amazon. I just wanted to shout it out again because it's great under makeup. It's not sticky, there's no white cast, and it absorbs into your skin really easily. It's just thebomb.com. So I love that. I have that already on my skin. So now we're gonna jump straight into primer water. So one of my favorites is from NYX. It's the Bare With Me Prime Set and Refresh Multitasking Spray. This is just really good, very hydrating, very refreshing. For me, primer water spray is always a must. I feel like it really just helps for my products to sink in and absorb a little bit better, and they don't look as cakey and heavy, especially in the heat. I think primer water always makes a big difference in my makeup routine. When it starts to get warmer out, this is the step that I never miss. So I'm gonna just spritz my face, and I like to cover my eyes whenever typically I'm doing sprays on my face, just to prevent anything from like smearing or just, you get it. It doesn't always happen, but sometimes your eyeshadow can kind of just separate and it just can look a little splotchy if you're spraying directly onto the eye area. So that's why I tend to cover my eyes a lot. And also, no, I did not get my nails done. These are press-on nails. Every time I have my nails on, people are like, did she go get her nails done? And I'm like, girl, they're Kiss press-on nails. Like, come on. So you want to let that sit and just to really let that have some time to absorb into the face. Now we're all ready for the actual primer portion. So I am going to use my e.l.f. Matte Putty Primer. This is one of my all-time favorites. I love this one and the original. I'm a big fan. I think the original is really great if you have super oily skin. I like that one a lot as well. It really just depends, honestly, but typically I will use that one, especially in the summertime, because it's intense and it really does a good job at smoothing and mattifying your skin. This one surprisingly is a little bit more hydrating than the original, which I really like, especially for when my skin isn't super oily at the moment. So I do quite a bit more than what is recommended, because I feel like the more that you use of this, the better result you'll get. So I just massage it in between my fingers, and then I just start applying it mainly on my T-zone, but pretty much everywhere. And my skin naturally gets a little bit red when I start to rub it, even when I do my moisturizers and stuff, but it's fine. It's normal. It's a really great formula. I feel like this formula is hit or miss. Either you love it or you hate it, but for my skin, it works really well. All right, so that's pretty much it for primer. I usually also like to let that sit for like, I don't know, like a minute or so, and then I move into foundation. Now for foundation, of course, the star of the show is this Believe Beauty Skin Finish Foundation. You guys, the coverage on this is great. I whipped this out during my Nothing Over $5 video, and I have been loving it ever since. Not only is the packaging like so luxurious, but the actual foundation itself looks like luxury on the skin, but it's so affordable. You can get Believe Beauty at Dollar General, and it is absolutely beautiful. I mean, the fact that this foundation is only $5 and it has a pump and it's like glass packaging, like this is the example for high-end brands. Like if this brand can do it, high-end brands and a lot of brands can put a pump on their foundation. Yeah, this is just beautiful. I love the coverage of it. It's very skin-like. It lasts a really long time and it just looks absolutely stunning on the skin. The coverage is medium to buildable. And for me, the finish really varies on the kind of primer that you're using underneath. If you're using a dewy primer underneath, it's gonna look a little bit more natural and dewy on the skin. If you're using something more mattifying, it's gonna be more natural, but beautiful nonetheless. So I'm gonna use use this today, and I'm gonna use my ColourPop sponge, which I love. Another sponge that I love is from e.l.f., the Total Face Sponge. That one's really great as well. Mine's just very dirty right now because I use it like all the time. And in this foundation, I'm in the shade Neutral Tan, and it matches me perfectly. So I'm just gonna take this and put it everywhere. Builds up really, really nicely as well. It's just all around a really great foundation. I just can't believe it's so affordable. Like, it's crazy. So I'm gonna just take my sponge and I'm just going to pounce it in. You could use a brush as well. I personally always prefer a sponge. Like, it depends, but I like it just because it really gives you the great coverage that you want, but it's not gonna be cakey. It's not gonna absorb any excess product on the sponge. So you're still gonna get the coverage, but I feel like it just always looks more fresh when you use a sponge versus using a brush, at least sometimes on my skin. It depends on the brush though too. For me, a sponge is just easy. It's very effortless. I also just re-dyed my hair last night. So if it looks a little dark in that area, that is why. I'm just really gonna pounce that in. I have a little bit left over on the back of my hand, so I'm gonna add that to like these little stubborn zits. But you see, like, it really does a good job at just like evening everything out. Like, it's amazing. I think when you wanna build up your products, going in with a sponge too is really good because it's going to take away from that cakiness, and it's just gonna, I don't know, it's just something about a sponge that I love. And for me personally, I don't drag my foundation all the way down here. I know some people drag it down all the way to the chest. If I need to balance anything out, I'll just add bronzer to my chest to make it work that way. But I'll also do bronzer on my ears as well because I don't love to do foundation on my ears, but I guess today I will. Why not? Just make sure, obviously, when you're doing your skincare at night that you are cleaning your ears and wiping any foundation off. So then for concealer, my favorite probably of all time is the CoverGirl True Blend Undercover Concealer. Actually, no, one of my favorites, because I like the e.l.f. Hydrating and Camo Concealer as well. Both of those are great, but the CoverGirl one is amazing. It's a really great dupe for Tarte Shape Tape, but it's more hydrating. I think even their claim of this concealer is that, like, more hydrating than a $27 concealer. I believe that was like their ad for a while in Walmart, which is amazing. So this one's in the shade Buff Beige, and I'm just gonna take this and put this on like that. Not necessarily a big triangle, but still kind of a lot, because I'm gonna take this concealer and I'm also gonna drag it towards the high points of my face. So I'll do a little bit extra. Sometimes I'll also put it down the bridge of my nose. And I love this ColourPop sponge because it has a little point. So it's perfect for really getting in there and blending out that concealer. It's amazing. I don't do as much concealer as I used to. Like, honestly, I'll just do whatever is left over to highlight the high points of my face. See, the coverage is flawless on the concealer. If you did not like Tarte Shape Tape because of how dry it is under the eyes, you will love the CoverGirl concealer, and they have a lot of good shades in it as well. Now, if you want an exact dupe for Tarte Shape Tape, the e.l.f. Camo Concealer, like the finish, the formula, everything, to me is identical to Tarte Shape Tape. So I don't like to do too much concealer because then I feel like it really accentuates under my eyes, but sometimes I do want a little bit more of a highlighted look, so I'll take this concealer from LA Girl, which is their Pro HD. This is like an oldie but a goodie. It's a classic concealer, I feel like, in the beauty community, and this one's in the shade Porcelain, so it's very light. So I'm just gonna use a little bit of this just to get a little bit more of that highlighted look. I've been really into a little bit more of a bright look these days. Not too much, but a little bit of this concealer does go a long way, so definitely drag this down as well, just to balance out those high points on the face. I like to do that above my lip, around my mouth, and down the bridge of my nose, and also in between my brows. The LA Girl concealer is great too because it's not a really thick and cakey formula, so you saw just a little bit goes a long way, and it's a good layering concealer. because it's so creamy. This is the lightest shade that I have in the CoverGirl concealer, or else obviously I would have used something a little bit lighter, but like I said, the LA Girl one is a good mixing shade, so it's fine. That's pretty much it. So my biggest tip, if you are using concealer under your eyes, try not to put too much concealer all over your face, like big triangles and dragging it everywhere, because then sometimes it's just a lot of excess product that you don't need on your face. So just maybe do a little bit extra under the eyes and then slowly but surely start dragging it all over the rest of your face to highlight that way. So it's like you get that highlighted bright effect without using a ton of excess product. Because sometimes, like for me, whenever I would do a ton of concealer everywhere, I feel like it can be a little bit wasteful and then you go through your makeup very quickly. So that's just personally how I do it, and I think it works very well. We're almost ready to set, but I'm gonna do a little cream bronzing. I've been so into cream bronzing, so today I'm gonna use my LA Girl Pro Concealer again. This one's just in a darker shade. I love this concealer for this because again, the formula is so creamy. It just works really well. Also, I almost forgot to mention, my absolute favorite brush for concealer is the e.l.f. Flawless Concealer Brush. This is really good for getting in those really tight areas on your face that are really hard to get with your beauty sponge. So like typically for me, it's the inner corners or like around the nose where it can get a little cakey. This is a good little method that I like to kind of smooth those areas out and blend in any excess concealer. And then before you go into set, I recommend using this brush to kind of blend out any creases that you may have. That way you're not setting your creases, because then if you set your creases, it's gonna look very crepey under the eyes. So you wanna blend it out, rub out those creases, and then set immediately after. But we'll get into that in a minute. But this brush is amazing. It's like $5. It's so good. I use it all the time. I have like 5 of them because they're that good. So what I like to do with this is basically just take some right on the back of my hand. I'm gonna use an LA Girl 104 brush. Let me take off my earrings for this. I'm gonna just stipple that product or the brush into the product right on the back of my hand. Oops, I did not blend this foundation all the way down there. Let's blend it out. There we go. Okay. So when you're doing this, you want to kind of go upwards with the product just to add that little bronze kind of vibe. So I recommend, if you're new to this, even if you're not, if you want like more of a soft kind of bronzy sort of vibe, take the product, put some on the back of your hand, dip your brush in. If you feel like you have too much product, just stipple it right on like the back of your hand as well, like right next to that product, and then go in and stipple it in. It makes it so much easier to work with, and it gives you, I feel like, more of a flawless natural finish. I used to go in and put the product directly onto my face, but then I find that it's super hard to blend. It takes forever and it just doesn't look as natural, at least for me. Like I love just kind of, I guess I'm not really technically cream contouring, I'm more so cream bronzing, and I love that look. I like that kind of sun-kissed look, just very effortless, and I feel like this concealer is perfect for it because it is just so creamy. The formula is just incredible and it's so affordable. I think the most that this costs at CVS is like $5, but if you get it at Ulta, I think it might be cheaper, don't quote me, but it's not more than $5. It's amazing. Like, look at that color. And I really like this brush, or any type of stippling brush. It works really well because it picks up the product without absorbing too much of it. And then when you stipple it on, it really kind of just like melts the product into the skin very effortlessly. So when I'm doing this, I'm not really dragging the product. I'm really stippling it in. You could totally use your sponge as well. I've seen people do that, but like I said, I think the brush just gives you the most perfect finish. And you want to focus most of the color on this area, very close to your hairline. And then kind of going upwards like that, dragging it up. And then if needed, you can go in with your sponge to kind of smooth the area out. Now I'm gonna go ahead and set everything, and I think you guys already know, but the e.l.f. Halo Glow Setting Powder is my love. It's my absolute favorite at the drugstore. It is so good. It gives you the most natural glow from within. There's no shimmer in it, but it's just so pretty on the skin and it looks really good in pictures, and I feel like it just sets your makeup in the most beautiful, like airbrush way. It's definitely, in my opinion, I think the best loose setting powder at the drugstore at the moment. So this one is in the shade Light, and I love it. It's so good. So it just looks like this. Again, you want to go in and blend out those creases right before you set. Again, I also stipple and then very lightly go in circular motions with the brush because you don't want to take away the product, obviously, that you have on your under eye area. So I like my under eye powder different ways. Sometimes I use a brush, sometimes I use a sponge. It really just kind of depends on what I'm feeling. So I'm gonna take that same sponge, which is still a little damp, but not really like at all. And I'm gonna just start by setting under the eyes. I'm gonna kind of leave that baking there for like not even a minute. I'm about to rub it away in just a minute. I'm also gonna drag this down my T-zone and around my mouth with the same sponge. I was gonna use a brush, but just kidding. I'm gonna just take the sponge and kind of just blend out the powder. So smooth, like so good. e.l.f. has been killing it for a long time, but especially lately, I think within the past like year or two, e.l.f. just always like blows me away. I'm gonna take that powder and I'm gonna kind of clean up under that bronzer, so it looks a little bit more sculpted and clean, kind of like you contoured, but you really didn't. You kind of just bronzed your skin a little bit. That's another reason why I like this sponge in particular, because it has that point, so it is perfect for a lot of different areas on your face. It's amazing. Just like that, and you just need a little bit of the powder. So pretty, and I think I mentioned it, but it looks good in pictures as well. I've tried it in dark rooms with flash. This is a beautiful powder. Now, of course, we have to, I'm gonna wipe that away, and by the way, make it a little bit more clean looking, but we're gonna do bronzer right now. I'm gonna set the bronzer. I'm gonna use the Essence Sun Club Matte Bronzing Palette. I love this. This is so good. It is super nice, very creamy, easy to work with. I'm wearing these colors in my crease, believe it or not. I'm actually gonna use these two shades right here because this palette's pretty dark, which makes me really happy because I feel like a lot of bronzers, especially at the drugstore and Essence, they don't cater to a lot of darker bronzer tones. So it's nice to see a palette that's a little bit darker than most. So I'm gonna take these two shades right here. Profusion has really great contour kits as well, and so does Makeup Revolution if you want something a little bit more cool tone. I personally just really like a little bit of warmth and red. It just makes you look, I think, a little bit more like tan, sun-kissed, like you just got some color from the sun. I'm just gonna very lightly kind of, okay, that's pigmented, but I'm just gonna lightly dust this all around where I did the cream bronzing. The bronzer also is very pigmented, so something to keep in mind. Sorry, my hair's going crazy. Just need a little bit. Like for me, the two shades up top are perfect for me right now. If I was tanner, I could probably use these, but like not even. Like those could be really good if you're like super tan or like a few shades darker than me, they could work. So it really is a palette that you can make work. I was actually just watching Taylor Wynn's video, and she also really liked this palette as well, and she's very fair, so it could definitely work. So don't be intimidated by it. Just be very light-handed. You want to take that bronzer and you want to drag it down, especially if your foundation doesn't necessarily match your neck. This is kind of like my little trick, and it makes you look like a little bronzed goddess. Then we cannot forget the nose, so let's do that. I'm trying to use like mostly affordable brushes today, so I'm going to use this little e.l.f. blending brush. It's an eyeshadow brush that you could use for under your lower lashes, but I really like it. I think for nose contouring, it works. So I'm gonna use these two colors, tap off the excess again because they're so pigmented, and I'm just gonna drag those two. I like to kind of take the whatever eyeshadow or bronzer that I'm using, and I kind of will connect it from the top of my eyeshadow, just so it kind of all meshes together and blends really well. And then on the tip of the nose, I kind of just rub it like that. Now this looks a little harsh, so I'm gonna use again that e.l.f. Flawless Concealer Brush. This really is a flawless brush. It just like erases anything that you have on your face. Like it's a little makeup eraser brush. It's amazing. I'm gonna use a little ColourPop powder brush just to rub away this little powder that we have under the bronzer to make it look a little bit more seamless. And then you can always use a little bit more translucent powder just to kind of rub away any harsh lines that you may have. Now, this is key just because this is a dedicated flawless foundation routine, I wanted to mention the Catrice Prime and Fine Mattifying Waterproof Transparent Powder. This is key for spring, summer, the heat, if you have oily skin, or just in general to keep your makeup in place. This is like a little sealer for everything. So besides setting spray, this is really gonna just lock your makeup into place and your powders are not gonna transfer or move. It's not gonna add any coverage or color to your face, so anybody can use it. And this is just what it looks like. I'm gonna use that same brush from ColourPop, tap off the excess. I'm gonna very lightly dust this all over the face. Again, it's not gonna alter anything. It's not gonna change the color. It's just gonna set everything really beautifully, and it's gonna keep your makeup in place all day. It's just gonna basically add that extra layer of protection so that nothing moves, and everything that we just worked so hard for is gonna stay in place. Now for blush. Blush is my absolute favorite thing when it comes to makeup. It really ties everything together. It gives you just that flawless little girly look. So my current favorite blushes are from LA Girl. I've used these before and they're great, but I love this new color in particular. So this one's in the shade Just Glowing, and then I have the shade Just Peachy. So Just Glowing is a really beautiful like bronzy mauve tone blush, and then the peachy one is just a really gorgeous peach blush. So I like mixing the two because it just creates like my perfect color. These are great. They're long wearing. They're super creamy on the skin. And I'm going to use an LA Girl 103 brush. So I'm basically going to dip into this color, and then I'm going to dip into the peachy color, tap off the excess, and then just stipple it right onto my cheeks, kind of blending it upwards towards the bronzer so it can look super seamless and smooth. The shade Just Glowing has a little bit of like a gold shimmer in it, but it's nothing like crazy or too dramatic. It's really pretty and it's very smooth. You can just see it just adds that perfect little wash of color. It's amazing. I also like to do a little bit on the tip of the nose. I know some people don't like blush on the nose. I just do a little bit, just a little touch. Totally optional. Last but not least, we're gonna do some glow. So I'm gonna use a very natural highlight. That's just what I've been into these days. Surprisingly, I know. This is the NYX High Glass Finishing Powder. This is so natural, so if you're not into a natural highlighter, you're not gonna like this. I just like that really subtle glow from within, and this one is perfect. It's in the shade Light. I'm gonna use my little highlighting brush from Amazon. That's a dupe for the Anastasia one, and I'm just gonna take this, and I'm just gonna very lightly apply some. A little bit down the nose, above the lip, and like above the brow as well, like right in this area, kind of like a little C shape. So that's pretty much it for the face, to be honest. We're all done. The last and final thing is just to really seal the deal and set everything with setting spray, but I'm gonna just finish up my lower lashes and my lips, and then we will finish off this foundation routine. So I'll be right back. Okay, makeup is complete. If you guys are interested in this look, I will leave a very similar makeup look that I did. This is like kind of like my bridal inspired makeup look. So if you're interested in it, I will link that down below for you guys. Different products, but very like, you know, similar kind of vibe. So to really seal the deal, set everything into place, and really make it last, I'm gonna use my Milani Make It Last setting spray. I swear by this setting spray. This spray is everything that you need and more. It really makes your makeup last. I have been repurchasing and using this for like 3 years at this point. It's the best setting spray at the drugstore. I swear by it. It is just, it's the best. So they have a dewy one that I really love. That one also makes your makeup last, but it gives you a different finish. It's very dewy, very fresh. No glitter, but it's a dewy finish. And then they have a black one, which is a matte one, which that one really does keep you matte. I like this one though because it's neutral. It's not matte. It's not dewy. It's just gonna set your makeup. That's it, without changing anything on your face and the finish of it. So I'm gonna just spritz my face with this. I love the way it smells, and the spritzer on it is really nice as well. I always say this, but whenever you are setting your makeup, you don't want to smile, you don't want to laugh, you don't want to make any facial expressions because you don't want anything to settle into your fine lines. So RBF, resting bee face. So that is pretty much it for this full coverage of flawless foundation routine. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully it was a little bit helpful if you guys were looking into trying out some of these products or just learning some new little tips and tricks. Leave me your go-to holy grails from the drugstore for a flawless foundation routine down below in the comments. I have combo skin once again, so these work really well with me, but if you have dry skin, oily skin, leave some favorites. That way we can all help each other out. Thank you guys for being here and for hanging out with me today. Hope you're all staying safe. I love you guys so much, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye!